Good evening, high school football fans. This is High School Football America for February the 13th. I'm Jeff Fisher, host of the show and founder and editor-in-chief of High School Football America and highschoolfootballamerica.com. Middle of February, it's snowing up and down the East Coast. Hate to say this, but it's another beautiful day here in Southern California. Sit back and relax, warm up with some good off-season high school football talk here tonight. We're going to talk actually, we're going to go back to my hometown pretty much, where they got some 14 to 20 inches of snow today, the Lehigh Valley in Pennsylvania, just north of Philadelphia. And a couple of guys that have left there but made their mark there and now are making marks elsewhere outside of Pennsylvania. We're going to talk with Jason Strunk, the head coach at Lubbock High School, who since 2012 has been writing on High School Football America, The Turnaround, for us, as he has turned around a lot of programs since leaving Pennsylvania, one in Plant City in Florida, and that's what he's trying to do right now in western Texas as the Westerners there at Lubbock High School, before Strunky took over, long losing streak. First year without a win, and then finally in his second year, he broke a string of non-playoff appearances by Lubbock High School. They had gone since the mid-'70s without getting in, and in 2012 they broke that streak. And another streak is they haven't had a winning season since the mid-'70s, and they're still working on that one. But Jason Strunk will be coming in to talk about his blog, and going to talk about a pretty serious subject. Is last year we all knew the story of, or know the story of, what happened with Gary Kubiak of the Houston Texans at the time, the head coach, who collapsed on the sideline. Well, Strunky almost had a similar thing happen to him. Thank goodness he's healthy now. It was not a heart attack. It was not a stroke, but he's going to talk about stress and how it affects you as a coach. And we're also going to talk about Lubbock football, looking ahead to 2014 with them. We're also going to talk a little bit about the UIL realignment. It happens every 2 years, which is kind of a big thing in the state of Texas, so we're going to talk about that. Also on the show, Jim Tkach, good friend of ours, just like Strunky. Jim is from, he was the head coach and became a Hall of Fame head coach at Northern Lehigh in Slatington, Pennsylvania. We've had him on the show on numerous occasions for different topics. Jim himself has been through the stress of high school football coaching to the point where he'll tell you in the show tonight that caused him basically to have heart problems and open heart surgery, so Jim's going to address that. He's also going to talk about the Nike Coach of the Year Clinic in eastern Pennsylvania, in Allentown, Pennsylvania, coming up at the end of this month. A great lineup of guests, including national champion coach Jimbo Fisher of Florida State, and Jim will be talking about that on the show tonight. So a lot of good talk here on the show with a couple of good guys that I always enjoy talking with, so it should be fun. Tonight's show brought to you by our partners, Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. Tony the Tiger reminding all you dads out there to share what you love with who you love. Also brought to you tonight by the TDI Razor, the debris inhibitor razor, keeping those pesky rubber crumbs out of your those pellets out of your shoes, players, when you're playing on field turf. Also gives you the great look of spatting without the cost of tape. You can get a discount by putting in the code HSFBARZR1. You go to TDI Razor. Razor is spelled RAZUR.com. Jim Tkach's going to talk about what he thinks about this great product. Jim is repping it for our friends at Southern Sport. Also brought to you tonight by the Maxwell Football Club, the Gala. Their big gala coming up in Atlantic City on the 14th of March. Peyton Manning is the NFL Player of the Year. And A.J. McCarron of Alabama, the College Player of the Year. You meet them along with a lot of other honorees. You can get your tickets by going to maxwellfootballclub.org. And brought to you by Webleats, webleats.com. Get your free student-athlete profile. Webleats is changing the face of athletic recruiting across America. Before we get to our first guest, Strunky, tonight, I want to mention that the National Federation of High Schools coming out with a new set of rules for the 2014 season. In all, they have 10 new ones that they put in, and we'll have some stuff posted up on the website. By the way, folks, before we get into this story, did have a problem with highschoolfootballamerica.com. We had somebody hacked our site. I hate to be that honest about it, but we need to be honest about it. They did, and it caused lots of issues. So what we're doing in the meantime, if you go to highschoolfootballamerica.com, there's a link there that will take you back to the blogs, which is really how High School Football America began. We have a national blog and 50 blogs for each and every state in America, and it'll take you there. So that's where we're going to be keeping everybody up to date while we redesign, give you a new look for the 2014 season. We also will continue on with Twitter and Facebook, and all those links are there. Again, if you want to tweet us out during the show, please feel free to hit us up with a tweet at HSFB America. HSFB America is the handle for the Twitter account. Now back to the new rules, and we'll highlight a couple of them. Among the 10 changes, the biggest one is the targeting rule that is aimed at reducing the number of head blows that a player receives during the game, and it's going to take effect for the 2014 season. Teams will be penalized for illegal contact, and the head of the football side of things at the NFHS, Bob Colgate, is quoted as saying, taking aim with the helmet, forearm, hand, fist, elbow, or shoulders to initiate contact above the shoulders, which goes beyond making a legal tackle or a legal block or playing the ball, will be prohibited. The penalty will be 15 yards. Now, most of the state athletic associations do adhere to the NFHS rules, so I would expect every state to be implementing this. Now, if a player is penalized for targeting, he will not be ejected. Now, that is different from the college targeting rule, which has sparked a lot of controversy, where the player in college is ejected. In high school, the player will not be ejected. So that's the new rule that will take effect this year, and I'm sure there will be a lot of conversation about it. But I like the fact that there is no ejection. I think that's a real good idea. There's also a rule designed to reduce injuries on kickoffs. At least 4 members of the kicking team must be on each side of the kicker from now on, and no members of the coverage team may start more than 5 yards behind the kicker. So that's a couple of new rules. We'll post them up on our website coming up here. Actually, it's up there already, so you can just check it out. Go to highschoolfootballamerica.com. The new link to the blogs is there, and check it out so you can see all the rules changes for 2014. All right, time to take a break. When we come back, talking the turnaround with Strunky, Jason Strunk, the head coach at Lubbock High School. That and more. You're listening to High School Football America, and this is the Artist First Radio Network. Time now to talk about the Debris Inhibitor Razor, spelled R-A-Z-U-R, here on High School Football America. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is a seamless outer sock that was specifically designed to keep crumb rubber and other fine debris from artificial or grass playing fields out of an athlete's shoes and socks, thus keeping such debris out of gym bags and also out of locker rooms. It's favored by athletes who want the look of tape, by trainers who no longer have the time to tape only for show, and by moms who no longer want that crumb rubber in the house. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is made of 70% nylon and 30% spandex material, making it extra lightweight and very durable. Plus, it's backed by a 1-year performance guarantee. The Debris Inhibitor Razor covers just the right amount of a player's shoe while keeping the shoelaces tight. It is fully customizable, machine washable, and most important, easy to get on and off. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is available in black, white, and pink. Other colors may be special ordered, and sizes are there from the youth level all the way up to that big foot. You know, the shoe size 14 to 17. Founded in 2010 by former University of Mississippi All-SEC player Carl Hoppy Langley III and 3 partners, Southern Sport Inc. created the Debris Inhibitor to improve athletic performance by protecting athletes, allowing them to look and feel better with technically advanced products engineered with superior fabric construction, a patented design, and proven innovation. To learn more, go to tdirazor.com. Remember, the razor is spelled R-A-Z-U-R, and look for a special code at High School Football America so you can get a discount on your order of the Debris Inhibitor Razor. This portion of High School Football America brought to you by Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. Tony the Tiger reminding all you dads out there, share that passion, your love for sports with the kids, but always do it over a bowl of Frosted Flakes. Time to bring in a good friend of ours. I actually got to hack it up on the golf course with him just around New Year's. Jason Strunk, the head coach at Lubbock High. He's writing the turnaround for us, and got to tell you, he went away for a little bit there. People were asking what was up, and finally last week he unveils a blog. I knew about it. I know he's healthy now, but some scares on the sideline just before something similar happened to Gary Kubiak for the Texans. And Strunky's on the line right now to talk about de-stressing and a look ahead to 2014. Welcome to the show, Strunky.
Hey, Jeff, thanks for having me. I wanted to tell you, I've been working on, de-stressing myself, and coming out there and golfing with you kind of made me more stressed, and I haven't been the same since. So I got to get back on track.
Well, you got stressed out because you couldn't count that high. You're like Fisher.
That's right.
You're triple digits. I have no idea where you're going.
Just triple digits on 9 holes.
Oh yeah.
It was a lot of fun getting out there and playing golf with you. We needed that. That was a good time.
We sure did, and it was really good because I knew what you were going through, and now you've kind of revealed it to our entire readership and all that. It wasn't a heart attack. That's the good news, and you're getting healthier and healthier. But let's go back to the moment in September when you go from worrying about X's and O's to worrying about life after.
Yeah, it was. Everyone knows I'm an energetic guy and fiery, and it was just a regular game for us. We're playing Coronado and went for a 2-point conversion, and we had it. The signal, the conversion's good, and I start walking the other way, and I turn around and I see the refs, conferring, and next thing you know, they look at our sideline and wave it off. And with that, it's happened before. Calls go against us, and, you fly off the handle for a split second. And I did. I went to meet the official, and I remember taking the headset off and saying, hey, I'll be calm in the interview here, but saying, hey, why'd you wave it off? And somewhere along those lines, my vision kind of went black, and I was seeing black spots all over. And it seemed like the stadium was swaying back and forth. And I don't know how I got back to the sideline. I don't remember what the ref said to me, nothing. Got back to the sideline, and I was pretty much out of it the rest of the half, and I just kept thinking to myself, well, I'll be okay. I'll be all right. And I couldn't see straight. I had pain in my left arm. My chest was tight. My neck, the left side of my neck was killing me. And me, the tough guy that I am, just stand there and say, yeah, I'll be all right. I'll get in halftime and drink a Coke, and all will be good. It was that part was scary because I wasn't sure what was going on. So we got into halftime and drank a Coke, and I still don't feel right, but I got to get back out there. And it was apparent after the opening kickoff of the second half, maybe 3 or 4 minutes into the game, something was wrong. It felt like I couldn't move my left arm. I finally said to my trainer, I said, hey, something's up with I can't, I'm having trouble breathing. I'm short of breath and tight. And, the next thing I know, EMTs are there, doctors there, and they're giving me nitroglycerin, taking my blood pressure. It was scary, to say the least, because you're not quite sure what's going on, and my blood pressure was through the roof. And me, I declined to get in the ambulance because I'm going to stay with my team and coach and do all that stuff, and that probably wasn't worth it to do that. Having to sign a waiver in the middle of the game saying I'm refusing treatment isn't not something I'm proud of. The bigger picture in life, kind of escaped me at the moment. So it was that started. From that night on, I wasn't the same the rest of the year, and I went through a battery of tests, stress tests, blood work. I even went in for an angiogram. They went and put a catheter through my leg and explored my heart, and I did all kinds of things, and I just never fully recovered from it throughout the season, and that's why I had to take a hiatus. I didn't have the energy. I never told anybody how bad I felt. I wasn't right. Headaches and fatigue, and I just wasn't right. And it's taken me till about now, the past month, where I feel normal again. I'm back on track.
Oh, that's so good to hear. We're talking with Jason Strunk, the head coach at Lubbock, writes the turnaround for us. Some scary moments on the sidelines, what we're talking about. We'll get away from the bad news here in a second, but you are not the only coach that is pretty intense out there. There's 15,000 plus high schools. The pressure in Texas a little bit bigger than maybe in some places. But what would you say to coaches who have read the blog or listening to you talk now, and they know they've been in that same boat? You know, what's the lesson you've learned about controlling that stress and that anger and that kind of that intensity?
You know, it's funny. I went through all that, and I didn't quite realize what I was doing to myself until I was watching, I think it was Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football, whichever it was. And
Sunday night.
Yep, and I saw Gary Kubiak go down. At that moment, I said, man, so that could have been me. And right away, before it even, the reporters weren't saying what it was, I said it's some sort of a stroke. It's exactly what it was, is what I'm saying. I know it. That's a stroke. And reading what he went through and how it happened, it lined up with me. So I was basically one step away from stroking out. I think I called it a mini stroke for him. It really took that for me to see it happen to someone else to really hit me like, hey, you need to calm down. So I kind of coached the rest of the year in fear. Like, next time I erupt, am I going to, double over? It was really, it played with your mind. And the thing I've learned is, I'm always going to be an energetic guy and fiery. But you just got to be able to calm yourself and just keep things in perspective while you're coaching and just not let the moment get to you. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. Everyone knows that. But I'm getting older. My health's more important. I just need to take a step back, during a game, and that's hard to do. But you got to find ways to do it, and I will. And I just hope every coach is as lucky as I am. Because I could have been laying on the field. So I feel kind of lucky, and hopefully guys can learn from what happened to me, and they learn to relax themselves a little bit.
Yeah, and like the saying goes, it's not how many times you fall down, it's how you bounce back up, and that means learning lessons and getting better. So we're just glad you're healthy. And now let's look forward to 2014. It kind of got started early for you guys, and it's a 2-year ritual, and now you're into it deep since you're heading into another year there in Texas, year number 4, called Realignment by the UIL, and that happened on Monday. I read it. I see people moving here, there. I don't really get into it all that much. I know it's enrollment, but tell us a little bit of how it affected the Lubbock Westerners.
Yeah, realignment is it's unbelievable. It's just as stressful as any Friday night football game, and that's how I know I'm also healthy as well. I made it through that pretty good. I didn't get too wound up, but it's a roller coaster because for months people put out projections. Hey, they're going to be here. Yes, it is based on enrollment numbers, but then it's based on geography. And the UIL trying to, realign the districts and getting people here and put them here. And you hear so many different projections of where they're going to be. This is Texas high school football. It's like college football. Everyone has a publication. So you're seeing all these places, we could be here in the 9-team district playing these guys. And you look at that schedule and you're like, wow, how will we survive that? Then you see another one, a 5-team district. You're in here, oh, okay, we can do good in that one. So it's just, it's nerve-wracking. For as soon as the season ends and realignment's coming, that's all you're thinking about. Where we're going to be, who we're going to play, what do we got to do. It's covered by every TV station in every region here in Texas. They have cameras there live as they're unveiled. It's mind blowing. And for us, it turned out well for us. We're in a 5-team district with Abilene Cooper, who's probably going to be the formidable favorite in our district. And then you have Lubbock Cooper, you have us, you have Plainview and St. Angelo Lakeview. Those last 3 teams I talked about, we've played. We've beaten 2 of them. We've had 2 close games with Lubbock Cooper. So realignment for us turned out well. We're in a good district. It allowed me to set up a good non-district schedule. So things are pointing up for us here at Lubbock High. Fell short of expectations last year. Got plagued by injuries and some things. Didn't go right. But we know, we're rebuilding a program that's been broke for 40 years, and it takes time. We came in with a 5-year plan. We're heading into year 4. Numbers are up, and we think we think we're heading the right way, and this realignment's going to help us.
Yeah, I didn't mention at the top, what you're doing by writing the turnaround. The turnaround's all about taking the, as you say in your words, the broken Lubbock high school football program that hadn't made the playoffs since the mid '70s, hadn't had a winning season. You got to the playoffs a couple of years ago, and you're doing a great job. And like you said, on some earlier shows, numbers are the key, but like you had a lot of injuries last year, and sometimes
right.
Numbers when they're young don't help you at that point. You got to get that experience.
Right.
So what happened last year with those injuries that got some kids some playing time that will help you in 14?
We encountered so many things. By week 3, we lost every running back we had. They were all down. We had our quarterback separate his throwing shoulder. And then the next guy we put in that leads us to 59 points against Andrews, he tears his ACL. We lost DBs, we lost wide receivers, we lost linemen. It was, I never saw a slew of injuries quite like it, what we had last year. And just odd things. And like you said, it allows us to get some other guys playing time. We returned a good amount of people that played through some stuff. And, what we learned last year was, we struggled, but even at the end of the year, we were in position to clinch a playoff spot. We were still playing meaningful football. So 2 years in a row at Lubbock, we played meaningful football throughout the end of the year. We had a thrilling 42-35 win over Lakeview, where we had a game-winning drive with 53 seconds left. We went 80 yards in 6 plays. Got the win 42-35 down there in Lakeview, which is a tough place to play. We have a bunch of kids coming back from that victory. They knew what that was like. Just a lot of things to build on. And, when last 2 games of the year, we went and we played Friendship, who, put 70 points on us. They're a powerhouse. We went into that game and we were playing backup linebackers in the D-line position. We were thin. We were just talking about that today. We had one of our guys, his name's Alex Orsa. I was probably, 5'9", 180 pounds. He's playing D-line against Friendship. It's a mismatch, but he never once batted an eye. He went after it, played hard, and, our kids learned from a lot of that stuff. So we have a lot of things to build on. And I think, this year could be the year we finally get over that hump and get that winning season.
All those injuries and almost losing the coach all at the same time. Jason Strunk, the head coach at Lubbock High School, on the line here at High School Football America tonight. Check out the blog, The Turnaround. He's back. He's writing. He wrote about the UIL realignment last week. And let's talk about the blog as we wrap things up here. We're getting some interesting feedback. We've had it ever since you started writing it a couple of years ago. But it seems you're picking up speed and more people reaching out to you. Tell me a little bit about some of the cool stuff that's happened since you started becoming coach / author.
Yeah, it's neat. You never know who's going to reach out to you. For the past 2 years, we've had some people reach out to us about nutrition that they read on the blog, how we set up practices. You name it. Advice on how to rebuild programs from head coaches that are in a position I'm in. It's neat. And just this week I received an email from a guy out in Dallas that wants to come out here and talk to us about our director of football operations position. It's not open, but I wrote a blog about it and described what my guy does and how we do all that. Well, his school wants to hire someone to do that, and they want to come out and talk to us and get info on how we do it. It's pretty neat. The blog allows us to connect with people, which is huge in our industry, networking. You name it. The blog, it promotes our kids, it promotes other coaches, it promotes high school football. There's so many positives to the blog. I can't list them all. And it really, I love doing it, and I'll let you know how bad I was feeling if I didn't even have, the energy or time to sit down and write a blog, since that happened to me in September. So I'm anxious to get back to it and keep writing because I think it's good for my coaches, our school, our staff, and just football in general. So I'm really looking forward to cranking that up again. Yeah,
and people enjoy reading it. Well, Strunky, I'm just so glad that you're feeling better. I'm now really kind of going back to that New Year's day after New Year's golf round, and I'm thinking, here you are. You're not really in shape, and you're still kicking my butt. That doesn't say much about my golf game, I guess.
Well, you don't need much of a physique to be a good golfer. So just get out there and that little white ball around a little bit,
Yeah, no, and then the best part, we got to let everybody in on it. So we step out. Strunky's used to all that the plains of West Texas, so we get him out here with some canyons and beautiful things, and we look off the first tee, and down there are deer in the middle of the fairway.
Yeah.
I ended up plunking one, but we got some great shots. You need to blog about that. Put some of those pictures up of the buck you saw out there in the fairway.
I'll put some up. The first tee shot of the day, Jeff Fisher hit the deer in the middle of the fairway.
That was the only shot I hit all day. The only
That's
shot
right.
I hit nice all day. Well, Strunky, thank you so much. We look forward to lots more stuff coming at you, and please, get if you ever have that again, like your advice is, don't be a hero. Get to the doctor and get it taken care of.
Exactly.
So thanks, and Happy New Year. Best of luck in 2014.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Talk to you soon.
Yep, take a break. Coming back with more. You're listening to High School Football America. Time now to talk about the Debris Inhibitor Razor, spelled R-A-Z-U-R, here on High School Football America. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is a seamless outer sock that was specifically designed to keep crumb rubber and other fine debris from artificial or grass playing fields out of an athlete's shoes and socks, thus keeping such debris out of gym bags and also out of locker rooms. It's favored by athletes who want the look of tape, by trainers who no longer have the time to tape only for show, and by moms who no longer want that crumb rubber in the house. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is made of 70% nylon and 30% spandex material, making it extra lightweight and very durable. Plus, it's backed by a 1-year performance guarantee. The Debris Inhibitor Razor covers just the right amount of a player's shoe while keeping the shoelaces tight. It is fully customizable, machine washable, and most important, easy to get on and off. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is available in black, white, and pink. Other colors may be special ordered, and sizes are there from the youth level all the way up to that big foot. The shoe size 14 to 17. Founded in 2010 by former University of Mississippi All-SEC player Carl Hoppy Langley III and 3 partners, Southern Sport Inc. created the Debris Inhibitor to improve athletic performance by protecting athletes, allowing them to look and feel better with technically advanced products engineered with superior fabric construction, a patented design, and proven innovation. To learn more, go to tdirazor.com. Remember, the razor is spelled R-A-Z-U-R, and look for a special code at High School Football America so you can get a discount on your order of the Debris Inhibitor Razor. This portion of High School Football America brought to you by Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. Tony the Tiger reminding all you dads out there to share what you love with who you love. Well, it's Old Home Week here on High School Football America tonight. We just got off the line with Jason Strunk, Strunky from Northampton, Pennsylvania, the head coach down in Lubbock, Texas now. The turnaround is what he writes for High School Football America, and couldn't get enough of the hometown since they're getting all that snow back there. None of the guys live there anymore, but Jim Tkach, who's been on the show before, a dear friend of mine from a long, long time ago, is the guy that runs the Nike Coach of the Year football clinics in eastern Pennsylvania, Allentown, Pennsylvania to be specific, coming up February 27th through March the 1st. You can learn more by going to NikeCoyFootball.com, and we'll talk about how you can register and the great lineup he has. But right now, let's get things kicked off with Jim Tkach, who's down there in Delaware, where evidently you're not getting as much snow as back home there in the Lehigh Valley. How are you, Jim?
I think we're going to get lucky and maybe an inch or two, but from Philadelphia up, they're going to measure in half feet. So I don't want anything to do with it. I'm so glad we miss it. Don't need to shovel and go to the cardiac ward.
Yeah, really. That's literally. Well, we just had Strunky on, and you haven't heard the interview yet, but I know you're very kind of on top of this because you and I share text a lot. And, Strunky had a scare last year on the sideline where didn't have a heart attack, as he just described in his interview, didn't stroke out, which could have been a possibility like Kubiak. But before we get into the clinic here, I kind of want to build on on that theme, because you're a man that was going into a Pennsylvania State championship game, and your old ticker wasn't cooperating with the enthusiasm of the state championship. And talk to me a little bit about what you went through, open heart surgery, and just what you learned as a coach. That, Jeff, it's at the end of the day, while coaching is your passion, you can't kill yourself over it. So give us your take on that a little bit.
Sure. What had happened from about 98 probably up through 2002, we were really making strides, playoffs every year, and I just kept putting more and more on myself. I got to the point that I wouldn't blame a kid. If he dropped the pass, well, maybe I should have thrown him more balls. Maybe I should have done this, and maybe I should have done that. And I was fine once the game started, but a grind Thursday night, horrible, up through the next week. And what happened in the springtime, I was at our son Bo's football banquet at Lehigh, and I felt like somebody was driving nails through my shoulders, and this real tightness, and said to my wife, there's something wrong here. I've never had a heart attack, but, well, long story short, ended up in the hospital with a heart attack. Prior to that, I was diagnosed with what was called thrombocytosis, excessive platelets. It was brought on by really the tensing and me tightening up and the nerves that I created this blood disorder. And that caused the heart attack in March. And 2 weeks later, after the stress test and everything, they said, well, it was more than 2 weeks, about 6 weeks. They said, you need to have open heart. And doctor comes in the room, my wife, and, being an idiot, I said, well, when can I go back to the weight room? And they said, we have news for you. You're not going anywhere until you go to get counseling. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I'll blow some counselor off, and that'll be it. Well, I got the ex-Marine, literally, the mamby-pamby Kleenex commercial where the guy throws the box at you. That's who they chose for me, and it was actually a great, great fit. And he told me within 10 minutes, you're full of crap. You're lying to me. Da 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 da. Well, the guy was really good for me. The bottom line is what he taught me, and it was tough. Calcified behavior in football from the time you're 9 years old and getting overly nervous about a game instead of just letting it flow. Said you teach the kids and yourself that it's about getting better. And after months of therapy, I had a standing appointment every Saturday morning after a game at 7 a.m., and the night before the championship game, I'm sitting in it's like just George Perovich. I'm sitting in his living room, and we're going over things. Okay, if it doesn't go well, this is how I need to react. If it goes well, this is how I need to react. And you never allowed yourself to think that way. You only think, I win.
Right.
And the kids get ready to go out for the game at Hershey. We ran the tape. We were 14-0, had 8 shutouts, great group of young men. And I would say to them, what are you going to do? And the kids would look at me and say, we're going to get better, Coach. Because that's what they can control. And it kind of released the pressure from them also. If your lead step is terrible, well, then that's what you got to work on and get better this week. I mean, we couldn't, the fact that Darrelle Revis, who beat us in the state final with 2 minutes to go, and his NFL Player of the Year defensively several times, I mean, we weren't going to control his 40 time or his strength. But it was an awesome game. I was able to walk away from that and be very proud and maintained the cardiac routine. But the stress, everybody says it'll get you, but I learned how this was happening through really knocking plaque off the side of arteries, because you just take yourself and just tense up for a minute that you're angry at something. Well, I was living like that a lot. I just, 2 kids don't show up at the weight room and 45 do, and I'm mad. And that's just wrong. I should be celebrating the 45 that are there, and the other two, well, the heck with them. I'll straighten that out later. But I just had it backwards, and I knew what I wanted to do at a very young age, that I wanted to play or coach in football. And I actually coach baseball now and help my son-in-law, and I'm able to pass those things on to younger coaches. You know, have great structured practices, and then put it on. If you improve, the outcome will take care of itself. That's what I really, really learned from the entire episode. My wife will even tell you I'm calmed down. My kids will tell me that. But it's a whole. The psychologist was great for me, and then we had, as you know, another tragedy after that with losing our son, and we went back to counseling then with the Millen family. Mrs. Matt Millen's wife is a Christian counselor, and it was awesome. It wasn't awesome, but it is now.
Right.
No, it's really difficult when you lose things. And my big issue there was I was dad, and I didn't protect my son. Well, here we go again, and now they're starting to get a little worried about the cardiac stuff, and it was good. I went a year. I coached for 2 more years after the heart attack, and in 2004, I started to have some little spurts again of tightness, and they did another check. I was fine, but then they sent me up to the booth, and that was torture. And I'll never forget, Pottsville radio announcer, he said over the air, Jim Tkach's been put in the booth, but he said, I don't think it's working because I'm 2 booths away and I can hear him. And actually, I was worse being up there.
Oh, that's too funny.
No one could see me, but you learn, you go through it, you learn what life's about, and then faith together. I thought I was a faithful guy, but then I learned a whole lot of other. I don't want to turn it into the hour of power, but all those things come together to really help you. I would love to coach now because I feel after 35 years, I finally learned what I'm really supposed to do.
You grew up.
Yeah, and that. I can't hear. We just were blessed with our second grandson on Sunday night, and I actually had a friend of mine call me today. He said, did you ever think about putting him for the Kutztown University job? I said, no, not even a thought. My life are these 2 little kids named Coy and Cooper Brandon, and that's it. But I coach with baseball. I'm still in the weight room, believe it or not, 3 days a week here at the local police. It's good, but Strunky, I want to talk to him because I can just see it. I can see it in the pictures. I can see it, in his face, and we blame it on ourselves. We just take things on too far. So
yep.
It's a heck of a dilemma. You have guys from the NFL that are dropping over with heart attacks and everything else, and I remember when all this started. My wife had the Philadelphia Eagles, Vince Papale story on last week. And I said, I really don't want to watch it. I've seen it. She said, well, why? I didn't see this. I said, well, I thought Dick Vermeil was the one that changed this all around 78, 79, 80s, where he started sleeping in his office, and doing all those things. It changed our culture. But we make a choice with those things. So there's ups and downs, and I like to matriculate toward the guys that are organized, the John Whiteheads of the world, and they're in the office at this time, and then they're out, and they're to their family. So I've learned a lot. I really have, and I want to talk to Strunky. I really do.
Yeah, well, at 38 years young, he needs a little talking to there, but I think he's getting it together. We're talking with Jim Tkach, and actually Jim Tkach is talking with you. That's the thing I love about my Lehigh Valley people. I don't know if you know this. I had Mike Pettin, Sr., on the phone a couple of weeks ago. You, the George Currys of the world, all I have to do is ask one question, and 15 minutes are filled. That's what I love about Pennsylvania.
Mike is... I coached for Mike in a Big 33 game.
Okay.
and just awesome. Guys are saying to me, he's barking at you. Why? I said, he's a head coach. You can do, and there were a lot of egos. You're all head coaches, and I loved Mike. I loved the 8-9 days with him. Wow, that was a heck of an interview. But you're right, we do take it our own way and roll.
I love it. Jim Tkach, he's the director of a great clinic that's coming up in eastern Pennsylvania in Allentown, our hometown. It's called the Nike Coach of the Year Clinic. He's been doing it for years. He's been on the show talking about it before, but we want to get some more registration going here. Clinic dates February 27th through March 1st at the Holiday Inn Convention Center in the Lehigh Valley, the west end of the Lehigh Valley there. Advanced registration fee $85 per person. At the door, $95. You can go to NikeCoyFootball.com to learn more. You've got one hell of a lineup. We're just going to have to say it that way. You've got the national championship coach in Jimbo Fisher from Florida State. But the one I'm excited about is, because I haven't seen the guy speak other than some clips on ESPN and all that, is Penn State's new head coach. We'll talk about everybody you have, but James Franklin, that's got to be kind of a coup for you guys and be excited about that. So tell me a little bit about what you've heard about James Franklin so far. We know he's an ESU guy from East Stroudsburg University.
Yes, and that choice is extremely popular. I was with Denny Dowds, the veteran ESU coach, out at Indianapolis at the National Convention when all this happened with James, and Denny had 40 interviews that he had to do as his former head coach. My understanding and talking to those guys, very articulate, very organized. I think it's going to be a really interesting, I don't want to say transition for Penn State. James has said some things like, we're going to capture Pennsylvania, we're going to control Pennsylvania, and I don't think a Joe Paterno would say those kind of things, and I don't think Bill O'Brien would. And the understanding reading articles back here, Jeff, is that they wanted a guy that understood the Penn State traditions, but they wanted a break from the past.
Right.
And I hear nothing but good things. I'm really excited to see. It's a Penn State coach with some swag. I think it's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah.
He's a modern day guy, but he's a brilliant football man. They say he's excellent at building, rapport and relationships with kids. So it's going to be tested. They're going to expect him to do unbelievable things up there. I mean, I've had registrations for my clinic already from and you know this club, the Lehigh Valley Nittany Lion Club.
Oh yeah.
Those guys, and the last two guys I talked to were in tax brackets that you and I could only ever dream of being in. They're big donors, and they're going to come to hear them because they want to know what they have. And
that's neat. That is so neat.
I watched. My niece actually writes for Penn Live, so I hear a lot through her. But I watched their signing show. I don't know if you had a chance to see any of it. And they ran it like the draft. So when a letter would come in over the fax, they're saying at 10:07 out of Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania, and they would put a big plaque on a board with a picture of the young man on his height, weight, and the high school he was from, and then they would show clips. I mean, it was really neat what they did. I mean, these signings things are becoming into just huge, huge shows. So that's something that never really would be done there. So I think there's going to be an upscale. I think it's going to be into the contemporary era of the way they do things with all the flash and the things. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the uniform, of course. But everybody, I mean, I know those ESU guys real well. And, in fact, the one guy was his roommate for 2 years in college, and they're back and forth on the phone all the time when we were out in Indianapolis. So it's going to be good. I'm really anxious to hear what he has to say. But I'm more interested in 11 years of this Nike business to see how he is with the people.
Right.
I will not name any names, but I had one national championship coach came in, and my son is a guy that brings them down and said, I want to go in a way that no one is going to see me. and I want to go out. I don't want to go through people. I don't want to be bothered. Okay, if you're going to go through the middle of the hall, Dave Wanstead's flight was late. The year he came in, and they were having the evening social. I said, well, Coach, they're having a couple beers and sodas, and he said, I don't care. Get me in front of them. And it was awesome. It was awesome. He allowed people asking questions, from the floor. And actually, we have some interesting people who, everybody volunteers to go get them from the airport. Guys haven't heard from in 15 years. Hey, in case you don't have anybody. Let me get you on the list.
Yeah, you're number 88 on the waiting list. We're talking with Jim Tkach tonight.
It's unbelievable. Like the mailman from the other end of Lehigh that I haven't talked to in 30 years. Hey, remember, you told me if I ever needed anything? You got the right guy. I'm on pass. I mean, it's just incredible.
Oh, so, that's too funny.
Things are all part of it, but James Franklin is a huge catch for us. And then to get Jimbo Fisher yet, wow, we got lucky on that one. He was assigned to another clinic, and the date was a conflict. And they called me in August, and I said, sure. Little did I know they were going to win the national championship. So, I mean, and he's going to be interesting to listen to.
Oh, it's going to be a fun time. Well, let me give the people who the lineup you have here. So, again, it's February 27th through March 1st. We're talking about the Nike Coach of the Year clinics in Allentown, Pennsylvania, for all of Eastern PA. You drive there. Hopefully it won't be snowing. We got Pete Lembo, former Lehigh coach there in the Lehigh Valley, now at Ball State, on the 27th. That's Thursday. You've got Paul Rhoads Friday morning from Iowa State. Jimbo Fisher, as you said, from Florida State, the national champs, Friday afternoon, the 28th of February. James Franklin, Friday night, the 28th. And Paul Chryst from Pittsburgh on Saturday, March the 1st. Jim, let's we told people they can go to the website, NikeCoiFootball.com. But you've done this before, but you do a great job with it. Explain to the people out there that would be interested in attending this what this is all about. And you don't have to throw in all the food. But I made some halupkis, by the way, this past weekend for Trish here, and she loved them. So anyway, you don't have to go into the food. Just talk some football here.
Sure. The football side of it, and we have it's a great lead-in because I just got off an email from a doctor in the Poconos who wants to send down the youth coaches. He said, well, I don't know if they'll benefit from this. And I said, I completely disagree. These are the best teachers in the world. And it doesn't matter if you're in youth league, you're at Division I college or high school. There's only certain ways that you can do things, but you can find out how to better approach them. These guys are the best teachers around. And we have 30 speakers, and they will be teaching, each of them teach an aspect of football. I mean, on Thursday night, the head coach from Fordham is going to come out, and he's going to talk about how do you attack 3rd down and 5. Now, I don't care if you're a youth coach or who you are. You want to get his idea on that. Mm-hmm. You want to have a plan. Following him, the special teams coach from Yale is going to talk about structuring your special teams and the type of people you need on that. Just because he's from Yale and you coach the 10-year-old up in Scott Run, this will benefit you. Mm-hmm. And it's also going to benefit the Isaac. You learn everywhere you go. So that's the thing I like about Stan DeCosti, my old buddy from Marion Catholic, puts the speaking list together. He and I confer going back and forth, and we just have such a strong array of topics, but strong speakers. I mean, Pete Lembo is gaining, that's a lot of attention for the Lehigh Valley. He has done an outstanding job. He just had a featured article on Football Scoop yesterday about recruiting, and that they'll take maybe a tick less than the 40, maybe a little weaker, but they'll go after the character and the intelligence, and he believes. And I'll tell you what, the guy has a plan. He's won wherever he's been at. And go to Saturday morning, 150th anniversary coming up, Yankee Stadium of Lehigh and Lafayette, and both of those schools will be speaking Saturday morning. But there's just such an array. And in addition, we have I guess it would be called a trade show. We call it an exhibit hall. Well, about 30, 35 different vendors will be there with shoulder pads, helmets, the newest computers, industries, I might throw in the TDI razor.
Well,
be there.
Well,
with,
let's
Joey and Sean.
Yeah, well, I'm going to give you a little stump because you're marketing this, and they're obviously a sponsor here. I put you together. Tell me your thoughts on the debris inhibitor razor. Tell me about that. What do you think of the product?
I am getting such positive feedback. I had a former NFL player from Missouri that I was talking to. He said, "Come on, you're kidding me." And I said, "You look at this video." He went on and looked at the video, and he said, "My God, I want to sell that thing." Tape is $3 a roll. Kids are putting tons of tape on their feet to look cool and support their ankle. However, it's full of dirt at the end after playing on turf or bad fields. And the thing is really picked up. I just cannot believe the calls that I'm getting. Colgate University called me last week. They're looking at even putting the kids' numbers on them. And the new head coach up there just loves it because he said, "I want them to all look alike. I don't want a high sock, a low sock, tape on the outside." So there's a lot of benefits to it from just having everyone look the same. Let's keep the dirt out. And and now I have a youth league that just called me down in Lewis, Delaware, that they're going to get them for the kids. So I think it's a great idea. I compare it to this. Do you need it to play the game? No. Do you need gloves to play the game? No, but everybody wears gloves. I think this is going to be the equivalent of gloves. I think what Sean and Joey have done is just incredible. A mindset. I mean, kids were taking sleeves off of sweatshirts and doing this a while back, but they have the patent. I just think it's an unbelievable product. I really believe it's the equivalent of gloves in football, and it's going to explode. Uh-huh. And just in the East here, I'm getting bombarded with phone calls and information.
That's good to hear. I love to hear it. Just we'll plug them one more time since they're our sponsor here at TDI Razor. Our Razor is spelled RAZUR.com. Have Jim Tkach on the line, Hall of Fame high school football coach, Northern Lehigh in Pennsylvania, my neck of the woods. It's the Nike Coach of the Year Clinic coming up February 27th through March 1st in Allentown, Pennsylvania. There's a series of 16 of these around the country. We had Chuck Rowe on, the national director, a while back here talking about it, but this one is a good one. Jimbo Fisher, national champ. James Franklin, new head coach at Penn State. Pete Lembo, Ball State. Paul Rhoads, Iowa State. Paul Chryst from Pitt. Just a great lineup. Jim, we always appreciate your time. I know it's going to be exciting, and just because we gave out earlier that you have your pre-registration. So pre-registration, $85 per person. That's up until you open the doors, right?
Right.
Okay,
right.
And they can do that all online? Is that the best way to do it?
They can do that online, and the other thing is if you have a staff of 10, the price drops to $600, $60 a person. So
not
that's
bad.
The new thing we did this year. No, I don't think so. Not for 3 days of football and food and all the other things. So it's a family. I need to mention, I have 18 family members there. The whole thing, it's moms are making hallucci, and it's just wild. It's really a great thing for us. That's what we do. We don't hunt and fish. It's football.
Exactly, and I gotta do one thing for my Pennsylvania Dutch heritage here. My dumb Dutchman. I actually didn't make halupkis. I made pigs in the blanket, as my mom reminded me as I called her for the recipe. So.
Oh yeah, halupki. You gotta go with the cabbage and the rice and the pork. Yeah.
No. That's what I have. But my mom calls them the Dutch called them pigs in a blanket. I know we're not going into the Food Network here anymore.
Well, they're also called Polish hand grenades. For more than one reason.
And on that note, Jim, we'll let you get to the gym.
Thank you. It's wonderful to talk to you. It really is.
All right. Take care, Jim. Again, it is the Nike Coach of the Year Football Clinic. It's NikeCYOFootball.com, Eastern PA, February 27th through March 1st. Taking a break, coming back with more. This section of High School Football America brought to you by the TDI Razor. Time now to talk about the Debris Inhibitor Razor, spelled R-A-Z-U-R, here on High School Football America. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is a seamless outer sock that was specifically designed to keep crumb rubber and other fine debris from artificial or grass playing fields out of an athlete's shoes and socks, thus keeping such debris out of gym bags and also out of locker rooms. It's favored by athletes who want the look of tape, by trainers who no longer have the time to tape only for show, and by moms who no longer want that crumb rubber in the house. The debris inhibitor razor is made of 70% nylon and 30% spandex material, making it extra lightweight and very durable. Plus, it's backed by a 1-year performance guarantee. The debris inhibitor razor covers just the right amount of a player's shoe while keeping the shoelaces tight. It is fully customizable, machine washable, and most important, easy to get on and off. The debris inhibitor razor is available in black, white, and pink. Other colors may be special ordered, and sizes are there from the youth level all the way up to that Bigfoot. You know, the shoe size 14 to 17. Founded in 2010 by former University of Mississippi All-SEC player Carl Hoppy Langley III and 3 partners, Southern Sport Inc. created the debris inhibitor to improve athletic performance by protecting athletes, allowing them to look and feel better with technically advanced products engineered with superior fabric construction, a patented design, and proven innovation. To learn more, go to tdirazor.com. Remember, the razor is spelled R-A-Z-U-R, and look for a special code at High School Football America so you can get a discount on your order of the debris inhibitor razor. Well, that's going to do it for tonight's show. I want to thank our guest on the show, Jason Strunk from Lubbock High School. Again, check out the turnaround at highschoolfootballamerica.com. And Jim Tkach, the clinic director for the Eastern Pennsylvania Nike Coach of the Year Clinic. Again, you can learn more by going to NikeCoyFootball.com. You can register for that. There's a total of 16 around the country throughout the year. A lot of them have been held. There's a lot this weekend and coming up in the next couple of weeks. So if you're in the Pennsylvania area, you want to go, this is a good one. They've got a great lineup of guests, starting off with the national championship coach in Jimbo Fisher of Florida State. The new Penn State coach is there too, James Franklin, along with Pete Lembo from Ball State, Paul Rhoads from Iowa State, and Paul Chryst from Pitt. So should be a fun time in Eastern PA there on February the 27th. Hopefully the snow will have gone by that time as it continues to snow in my hometown area there. Want to thank our partners that make it possible, Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, the TDI Razor. Learn more at tdirazor.com. Razor is spelled R-A-Z-U-R.com. By the way, I'm looking forward to meeting Hoppy Langley, the guy that created it, along with one of his partners, Joey Teichert, who's been here on the show, coming up in Long Beach next week. They're out here. TDI Razor. You got to check this out, folks. This is a great new product, as Jim Tkach said. This thing is like gloves. When players wearing gloves now, he thinks everybody's going to be wearing the debris inhibitor razor. Also want to thank Maxwell Football Club. Get your tickets to their gala coming up on March the 14th at maxwellfootballclub.org, and get your free student-athlete profile at webleats.com. Thanking Corey King back in Ohio for keeping the show running on track. For now, this is Jeff Fisher saying, if you're in the East, stay warm and stay out of the snow. But for now, I'm saying good night and good sports from Laguna Beach, California. You've been listening to High School Football America, and this is the Artist First Radio Network.